I just wanted to make this video encouraging anyone who is an artist or who is an aspiring artist. And I just want to tell you that now is the time. Now is the time. Really, the time was yesterday, but now is the time to start creating and to not stop creating. And I know that the most difficult thing to do when you are an artist is to always remember to choose art. You have to choose it. It's a choice you have to make every single day. If you're sad, you have to choose art. If you're angry, you have to choose art. If you're happy, you have to choose art. If you're going through something, you have to choose art. You always have to make that choice. And that's why a lot of people give up, because it's easier to take a conventional path. And I have been in and out of the matrix, I would say, for the past, the past while. I don't know exactly how long it's been, but I've been, in and out of the system, so to speak. And I have realized that I have to make this happen. Being an artist is one of the most difficult and challenging and testing things you can possibly do with your life, but it has to be done. There is no other path forward for me and for people like me other than to do this. This is all I have. I was put on this earth to be an artist, to be specifically a YouTuber and a musician. Those are the only two things that really apply to me. Those are the only two things that have ever applied to me. They're really the only two things I've ever wanted to do with myself. And I keep playing around and picking things up and putting them down, and I have to do this. I have to do this. I contemplated there for a little while. I was like, man, maybe it would be easier for me to just be regular and to clock into a 9 to 5 every day. And it's like, no, dude, I have to give this a shot. I look at it this way, bro. The time is going to pass anyway. So you might as well just go chase that dream, bro. I will freely admit that I have a hard time kind of giving in to what other people think of me. I have a hard time with negative opinions. I'm going to have to get over that. If you want to do any form of creative endeavor, you have to get over the critics. You have to get over the cynicism and the negativity. That's all there is to it. I mean, that's just what it is. Because when you do something different and out of the box, people are going to say negative things about you. I mean, for Christ's sake, I am a semi-alternative metal rapper, industrial experimental artist who wears a fucking black vest everywhere he goes and has a red and black octopus on top of his head and has a gothic black girlfriend. I'm gonna get criticized. I mean, I stand out like a sore thumb. That's all there is to it. And when you stand out, people are gonna hate. People are gonna say negative things. Really, what it boils down to is jealousy. People are jealous. And when people are jealous, they project. And not even necessarily because they want to be like you, but because they themselves aren't comfortable fully being themselves. They may not dress like me, they may not wear this big ridiculous octopus hat on top of their head. And they may not, make screamy, loud, bassy music. They may not have a busty black gothic girlfriend. They may not be all of those, or they may not have any desire to have a big titty goth black queen. That might not be in their plans, but they have something in themselves that they don't want to project out into the world because they're not fully comfortable with who they are. So they'll latch on to somebody like me, for instance, and be like, aha, we can target him. And sometimes it's not even that deep. Some people are just miserable and they look for somebody to pick on. And then there's other people who, they fear what they don't understand. And I understand that. It's not always hate. It's not always overt hate. You know, when people criticize you for being different or being outside of the box or even not even being different, just criticize you for whatever reason. It could be any number of things. You could be a square, and people will criticize you. No one is free from criticism. Everybody gets it. The white collarist of the white collar, get criticism. Everybody gets criticized. Whether you're a fucking construction worker or you sit in an office all day or you're a musician or an aspiring musician or whether you're taking an unconventional path like me or whether you take a conventional path and you're in school, it doesn't matter what you do with your life, what choices you make. People are going to have something to say. So I encourage you to just do what it is that you want to do with your life and block out all the noise. Even your parents, even your friends, even your peers, coworkers, people that you think might have your best interests at heart or at least think that they do or try to project like they do. Not everybody has your best interests at heart. Some people think they do, but they really don't. Your family could be wrong. Your friends could be wrong. Your significant other could be wrong. Anybody in your life that is trying to steer you away from what it is that you want to do with your life, they could be wrong, and they probably are. Because if you have this thing inside of you that you want to try, and you want to press toward that thing, then do it. The time is going to pass by anyway, dude. I was under this spell for a little while where I felt like I was getting too old. I'm like, well, I'm 28. Am I really going to be able to make this work? Is it too late in the game? Do I need to come back down to reality? And it's like, dude, where there's a will, there's a way. The difference between the people who do what it is that they want with their life and the people who don't is that the people who do what they want, they say, I'm going to get this and I'm going to do this thing and I'm not going to let anybody stop me and get in my way. And then there's the people who make excuses at the end of the day. And as an artist, especially being an artist is one of the hardest things to do with your life, but it's also, I would argue that it's the most rewarding. Obviously, I'm biased, but being an artist and being an entrepreneur, and I mean, those two things go hand in hand. Artists are entrepreneurs. They're selling the hardest thing to sell, which is themselves. A lot of people forget that. And I just encourage you to, you have this thing. I know everybody who's watching this has something. You know, you may, hell, I know this video is geared toward artists, creatives. You might want to go back to school. You might decide you want a career shift, a career change. Let's say you're watching this video right now and you work at you work some HR job where you work in HR and you're a white collar and you fucking type behind a computer all day long and write people up. And you just decide that one day you wake up and you just decide, you know what, I'm really good at cooking and I want to cook for a living. And I want to open up my own restaurant. Do it. Everybody has something. I truly believe that everybody has a gift, and that's really my biggest gripe with capitalism is that it puts people into these boxes that they call, corporations. And people will give up their dreams and they will give up the essence of who they are for a paycheck, and that's where we are as a society. And I think that many of us have been tricked and bamboozled into believing that this is just the way things are and this is just the path you have to take. It's like 21 Pilots said, wake up, you need to make money. And it's like, I really truly believe that if you want something bad enough, you can obtain it. Again, the difference between the people who get what they want and the people who don't is that people You know, people who get what they want decide they're going to get it no matter what, and they're going to find a way to do it. Um, so, yeah. Going back to being an artist, a lot of artists are addicts. A lot of them struggle with substance abuse. I know because I've struggled with substance abuse, but if you can take that energy and redirect it into your art, you'll win. You've already won. You've won because, you know, artists artists tend to struggle with addiction because we are highly sensitive, highly intuitive people, and sometimes the pain and the all of the pain and the heartache of the world is just too much for us to bear because we're so sensitive to it, and we see the writing on the wall and we often see through the veil, you know, whereas a lot of other people, they look through the world with two eyes shut, and the they don't see a lot of the corruption and a lot of the greed that's happening right now, or they either don't see it or they choose to ignore it. And when you're an artist and you have that highly sensitive, highly intuitive spirit within you, it's impossible to ignore. And you have to take that energy and redirect it into your passions. That's that's what people have to do. Otherwise, you'll just drink your life away, and you'll do drugs until you keel over. I mean, that's really the only alternative, you know. Now, I'm not advocating anyone do drugs necessarily either, or drink, but I mean, many of our favorite artists, many of my favorite artists were drug addicts, and they made the best art. I don't advocate for these things. I also don't condemn them because I, you know, I mean, depending on the drug, right? I mean, heroin, not even once, right? Meth, not even once. Cocaine, probably shouldn't do that. But you know, I mean, there's drugs that you shouldn't do, but at the same time, there's some people who do things in small doses and they're fine, and they they manage. Um, but anyway, I'm getting a little off track. Point of this video is I just want to tell you that as an artist, as a creative, you can make this passion a career. You can make it a career. You can do it. It is possible. And not only is it possible, it is essential, in my opinion. Anyway, as always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you did not enjoy this video, if you did not enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And as always, kiss my ass and eat it while you're at it. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace, love, and light.